Hi guys, and welcome back. I'm Pascal Chev and this is Chef's Choice. Today I'll be talking about a topic that has come up a lot in the past few days, mainly because of Italy's shortened version of the Eurovision entry, but has been around for a few years now. The question about whether or not to rethink the 3-minute rule of the Eurovision Song Contest. Let's first take a look back. The rule that states that the duration of every entry competing at the Eurovision Song Contest must not exceed 3 minutes has been around since 1960. Back then it made sense, since pop songs back then were mostly shorter than they are today. The average length of the top 10 selling singles in the 60s in the United Kingdom is 2 minutes and 38 seconds, compared to 3 minutes and 46 seconds for the 21st century, says escunited.com. And music is not the only art form that experienced the growth in the duration of its products. I remember when I was about 13 years old and went to watch Face Off in the cinema, I had to pay an additional fee because the movie exceeded the traditional 90 minutes of playtime by almost an hour, while today a duration of 2 hours or more is the normality. It is therefore understandable that people argue for the sake of creativity to extend the allowed length of the Eurovision entries to 3.5 minutes to meet today's standards. Their argument mainly is that 3 minutes are not enough time to compose diverse songs that don't have to follow all the same structure and to offer more time for original approaches. For me it was only last week when Italy released the shortened version of Occidentali Karma that I felt that the song suffered tremendously by cutting out the second verse to stick to the time frame. Before, I actually never minded the strictness of this rule, which made me think about whether or not the 3 minutes rule is still useful today. But for me, as a digital artist who creates his work by writing algorithms, I find that rules don't always have to be restricting, but can also be liberating. When there's a clear structure or rules or a framework, you know the boundaries in which you can express yourself and don't have to think about how far you can go. Knowing the size of the canvas you're painting on lets you focus on what you can do within that space. Without boundaries, I would be more intimidated by the vast empty space in front of me than it would liberate my creative thoughts. So I think limiting the time to 3 minutes gives you plenty of space to let your creative spirits wander freely, and it actually challenges the composers and artists to think out of the box, which is obviously possible since we get several brilliant standout acts every year. But I know that's just me, and not all creative brains work the same way. Of course, this also means that songs that weren't specifically composed for the contest don't fit in this structure. But I personally think it's exciting to have a contest with songs that were created for specifically this purpose. But that's probably worth the discussion in itself. However, there are reasons why an extension of 30 seconds per song is easier said than done. And I'm amazed that when I did a little research on this, not a single article discussing this topic went into the impacts that this would have on the contest. 30 seconds doesn't sound like much, but I think many of you underestimate the impact it can have. So let's calculate quickly. In Stockholm last year, we had 2 rounds of rehearsals for each song. The first around 40 minutes per contestant, the second around 25 minutes. With an additional 30 seconds per run-through, each contestant would need around 5 minutes more in the first rehearsals and maybe 3 minutes in the second. So we have 5 minutes times 43 contestants plus 3 minutes times 43. Then there's the dress rehearsal, the jury show and the family show for the semi-final 1, plus the actual live show. Then the same for the semi-final 2, and again the same for the grand final. This all adds up to an additional 7 hours and 50 minutes. So 30 seconds per song result in a full additional workday for all the hundreds of people involved in producing the show. People don't work for free, so who's going to pay this additional workload? And there are many more individual rehearsals, sound checks, etc. that aren't even included in this calculation. And don't forget about the national finals that will experience the same thing. And you might say that there are other ways to cut down a little time, like for instance shorten the postcards in between songs. But there is also a reason why they are a minute long, since they need the time to prepare the stage for the next act. You might also say that they could cut the interval acts, since most people don't pay attention to them. But there's a reason for that as well, because it's the only moment where the broadcasters can switch to commercials. which is their way to earn money. So no interval acts, no money for the broadcaster for more than 3 hours during prime time. I'm not saying we shouldn't think about rules and whether they make sense or not. And I haven't done any extensive research on this to be able to give you an exact estimate on the cost. And I might have not thought through the whole issue. But what I wanted to show you with this video is that if you're on the fence against the 3-minute rule, you might want to think about the consequences it has. That's all I have to say for today. I'm excited to hear what you have to say about this, and I hope I don't get bludgeoned to death by your comments. I just wanted to show you the other side of this discussion that no other article seems to mention. Now I hope I have time to get back to making my top 43 list, which is a challenge in itself. But if you want to see the results of this effort, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss it. And if you liked watching this video, I would appreciate your thumbs up. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.